A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Commonwealth Youth Forum presents token of appreciation to President Maithripala Sirisena. Sacked Saptosa employee receives another appointment. Presidential Commission launches inquiry. President and Prime Minister requested to refrain from campaigning at local government polls. Former President takes a stand on the 2016 budget.
President Maithripala Sirisena has been presented with an award at the Commonwealth Youth Forum.
The President's Media Division said that the President was presented this award for his exceptional support and contribution towards the Sri Lankan youth. The award was presented by Chair of the Commonwealth Youth Council, Ahmad Adamu, in Malta. A Sri Lanka youth delegation comprising of Shiromi Watsala Samarakon, Tarika Dilipani and Mohammad Husni, representing the Commonwealth Youth Council, were also in attendance for this occasion. Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena, who participated in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held in Malta, left for France to attend the United Nations Conference on Climate Change 2015.
The United Nations Conference on Climate Change is scheduled to commence in the city of Le Bourget in France tomorrow, which is around 15 kilometers off the country's capital, Paris. The conference will see the participation of several heads of state, including US President Barack Obama and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Delegations of 183 of the 195 UN member states are scheduled to attend this conference. Security in the country has been tightened ahead of the conference in light of the terror attacks in Paris around 2 weeks ago. The conference this time around will focus on addressing severe issues surrounding the rise in global temperatures, melting of glaciers, rising sea levels and the rising carbon dioxide emissions, and on implementing practical measures to tackle these issues by crafting a long-term deal at the international level. President Maithripala Sirisena and Venerable Athuraliye Ratanathero will attend the conference as representatives of Sri Lanka. Newsfirst is standing by to bring you the details of the conference from France.
Newsfirst වෙනුවෙන් තොරතුරු ගෙනෙන්නට සූදානම්. අමරෝෂාන් ප්‍රියවට්ටමල Newsfirst වෙනුවෙන් පැරිසියේ සිට.
Venerable Dr. Damaramila Thera says that the President and the Prime Minister have given their consent to not represent any political parties' election platforms in the local government elections.
We met the President and the Prime Minister a few days ago and said that we have received a good opportunity to build a reconciliation in the country. We have come a long way. The two main parties have joined by a considerable number. A local government election will come around during April and March, and if they get onto the platform once again, it could affect the reconciliation in the country. Therefore, it is essential that these two take a backseat during these elections. Let the second and third tiers handle this, because this is not an election which could change the government. Both of them agreed to this. A book titled Buddhist and Muslim Fellowship and Islamic Society, written by Munawwarul Al-Aflal, was launched in Dharka town yesterday.
Speaking at a meeting held at the Abhayaramaya today, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa commented on the 2016 budget.
I believe that this budget is not at all compatible with the ideology of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. It is my belief that such unbridled privatization has no place in the SLFP or the progressive forces in the United People's Freedom Alliance. Foreigners have been given major concessions while our people have been burdened without them even realizing it. This has become a game. They suddenly increase prices and suddenly reduce it. Some ministers claim that they have been allocated a certain amount of funds, and we have to peruse the budget to see if this is the case. It is not. When we question them about this, they say that both parties have discussed it and reached a settlement. This means that they are having discussions outside the budget process involving transactions of millions of rupees. This is a joke. It is clear that the government intends to increase its non-tax revenue for 2016 by 300% by selling off all of the state's assets. I believe that it is exceedingly possible that the estimated revenue will not be met given the economic decline witnessed this year. When they do not receive the expected revenue, they will have to cut down on expenditure. Expenditure like wages will have to be paid somehow, so what will be curtailed is capital expenditure. Slashing capital expenditure means pulling money out of all development and construction projects. They have presented a popular face by lowering income tax and reducing the prices of gas, dried fish and other food items, but I do not know if this has actually happened. In my opinion, this will pull the whole country backwards.
ජනප්‍රියවාදී මුහුණුවරක් පෙන්නලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේක ඉතින් ඇත්තටම සිදු වෙලාද කියන එක මම දන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් මේක රටම ආපස්සට ඇදගෙන යන බවයි මගේ මතය.
The Sri Lanka Scrap Traders Association convened a media briefing today.
The Sri Lanka Scrap Traders Association points out that their trade has been severely affected due to the downward revision of import duties on steel proposed by the 2016 budget. The association states that the local industry is facing a collapse as a result. They claim that the price of a kilogram of scrap metal, which stood at 63 rupees, has fallen to 23 rupees. In 2003, we exported scrap metal to India. We did not face any problems at the time. In 2013, the former government removed all taxes on the billet-type material. This was a blow to the stomach for the traders who dealt with this material because no one wants to buy from them anymore. We call on the government to put a stop to this because of the impact it has on all scrap metal dealers. We will have to go hungry.
ලෝක දේශපාලනයේ කාන්තා දායකත්වය ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපේ රටේ නම නිතතින්ම කියවෙනවා. ඒ ලෝකේ ප්‍රථම අගමැතිනිය බිහි වුණේ අපේ රටෙන් හින්දා. ඒත් අනිකුත් කාරණා සම්බන්ධයෙන් කතා කරද්දී අපේ රටේ කාන්තාවන් ගැන සෑහීමකට පත්වන්නට පුළුවන්ද? ඔබේ අම්මට, ඔබේ සහෝදරියට, ඔබේ බිරිඳට, ඔබේ දියණියට සමාජයේ නිසි තැන ලැබෙනවද? නිසි ආරක්ෂාව ලැබෙනවද? අපේ රටේ කාන්තාවන් සවි බල ගැන්වීමට කාලය ඇවිත්. එන්න අප සමග එක්වන්න.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
For the first time in the 216-year history of the Auditor General's Department, the 40th Auditor General of Sri Lanka assumed duties on Friday, paving the path for the official who held the post of 39th Auditor General for over a year to continue to serve in the position of Additional Auditor General. If the Constitutional Council was not established following the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, the 39th Auditor General's position would have been made permanent and the position would possibly have not become vacant for another 7 years. The foundation for such a situation was laid by the 37th and 38th Auditor Generals. Action TV has pointed out on prior occasions that a committee which was appointed by the 36th Auditor General had indicated that the 39th and 38th Auditor Generals had failed while they served as audit superintendents to prevent the embezzling of 240 million rupees at the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. While the 37th Auditor General had assumed duties at the time the committee submitted its report, on the 18th of March 2012, Action TV revealed that he had suppressed this report. By this time, the 38th Auditor General had assumed duties. The 38th Auditor General accepted that the committee's investigation report had been misplaced at the department. However, he took no action to launch an inquiry into the misplacing of this report. The extent of the trickery that was undertaken instead is now coming to light. The 38th Auditor General commissioned a fresh investigation on the apparent basis that the 36th Auditor General had not already commissioned an investigation into the embezzlement at the Water Supply Board. The 38th Auditor General noted in this letter appointing the investigative committee that the Action TV expose was one of the factors which prompted this new investigation. When studying the report of the investigation carried out by this new committee, it is evident that the 38th Auditor General was not only attempting to save his own position, but was also paving the way for the appointment of his successor as the 39th Auditor General. While the new report makes no mention of the 38th Auditor General, it does mention the name of the 39th Auditor General, but concludes that no charges can be filed against him, noting that there is insufficient documentation to conduct an investigation. However, the report itself states that the documentation necessary for the investigation is in the possession of the Criminal Investigations Department. Thereby, as a matter of priority, and to safeguard the sanctity and reputation of the department, the newly appointed 40th Auditor General must recommence the investigation for which the foundation was laid by the 36th Auditor General and later suppressed by the 37th Auditor General. Although the 37th and 38th Auditor Generals have since retired, the 39th Auditor General, who was appointed as a result of the activity, continues to serve at the department. When considering his age, the newly appointed 40th Auditor General is able to hold the position for 3.5 years, and it is his responsibility to ensure that when the time comes for him to be succeeded, his successor will not have to deal with any skeletons in the closet. Will the Auditor General fulfill this responsibility? Action TV will keep a close watch.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Serious Acts of Large-Scale Corruption and Fraud says that it has learnt of the appointment of a high-ranking officer who was charged with misappropriation of funds at the Lanka as an advisor to the Minister of Industry and Commerce.
A number of high-ranking officials of Lanka have been charged with financial irregularities. Secretary to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Large-Scale Corruption and Fraud, Lassel de Silva, said that its investigations had proven that the officers were guilty of the charges. Measures were taken to relieve them of their duties at Lanka. However, one of the charged high-ranking officials has been reappointed to the post of an advisor at the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. We had recommended that 13 officials be removed from the institution. Thereafter, the Public Services Commission had taken the necessary steps to remove the officers who were involved. However, it has now been reported that one of the officers who were involved in the financial fraud at Sathosa has been appointed to a position at the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. If this is true, then we will take measures to summon them before the Commission once again. We are in a gradual process of creating an example to the state service to do the right thing and bring in the right practices.
Estuarine crocodiles were sighted on several occasions in Colombo over the past 2 months. Newsfirst investigates the cause of this phenomenon.
17 feet long crocodile off the coast of Dehiwala. Corpse of a 12 feet long crocodile washes up in Kolpiti. 12 feet long crocodile captured near Gore Face. Another crocodile found along the shores of Vallis.
The latest incident in the series of sightings of crocodiles in the waterways and off the coast of the Colombo city was reported today at the canal which runs adjacent to St. Peter's College. Crocodiles have been sighted at several locations in Colombo in the past 2 or 3 months. What has caused this? What impact will it have on the people of the densely populated Colombo city? Newsfirst made inquiries.
Environmentalists say that estuarine crocodiles, which have traditionally inhabited the Kalaniya River and the Diavanna Oya, are migrating to the canals of Vallavatta and Dehiwala via the tributaries and waterways.
There are schools here. There is a temple. Even though the crocodile is small, we don't know what will happen when it grows up. We request that immediate action be taken. A big crocodile went missing after it went into the sea. Afterwards, 3 more crocodiles were seen very often. We have informed the responsible officials about this. What is this? There are students in this area. School students get into the canal to collect tennis balls. If the crocodile comes at a time like that, it would be a crime. There is no problem at the moment, but in this rainy season, it could be a problem. If someone were to cross from one side to another, they would fall prey. 1 or 2 people will certainly be taken. Children bathe here as well. Officials have not paid sufficient attention to this issue because no injuries have occurred in areas like Vellavatta, Attiriya, Ratmalana and Bolgoda. I think we need a long-term solution that goes beyond simply capturing crocodiles wherever they are and releasing them elsewhere.
4 people drowned in separate incidents in Sidua and Attanagalla today.
5 boys had decided to bathe in the Dadugamoe in Pussalla Aramba Palema in Sidua today after attending a private tuition class. 2 of the boys drowned while the other 3 had managed to save themselves. We heard screams at around 9:30. 5 persons had arrived here. 1 was near that bridge, 1 had climbed the pillar here, and 2 others were on shore. When we inquired from those 2, they told us that 2 of them had drowned. They may be further down the river. At least 2 people drown here every year. A search operation for the 2 missing students was undertaken by the Navy. The police say that the 2 missing students are 17 years of age and are residents of Jayala and Walisara. Meanwhile, a father and son have died after drowning in a river in Karasnagala, Attanagalla. The police say the 55-year-old father had gone to bathe with his two sons. The 15-year-old elder son had been washed away by a current, and the father had also been pulled away by the current when attempting to save his son. The victims are residents of Galhitiava North. The bodies of the victims are currently lying at the Watupitiwala hospital. Around 1,000 people die every year from drowning. As the Sri Lanka Lifeguards Association, the message we give you is that the safe zones should be identified before going to bathe anywhere. I have to especially state that only one person drowns, but those who go to rescue them also fall into trouble. At a time like this, if you see someone drowning, do not make an attempt to rescue them, because even you could fall into trouble by attempting to rescue the other person. At a time like that, the best option is to shout for help and throw them a floating object that they can cling onto, instead of you putting your own life in jeopardy.
The body of a young woman from the Osborne estate in Hatton was found in a Castle reservoir today. The girl's family says that she had been missing for 3 days.
The 20-year-old woman had been missing since Thursday. The girl's family had made an entry at the Hatton police yesterday after the attempts to find her proved futile. After searching for 2 consecutive days, we found out today that her body was in the Castlereagh reservoir. While area residents had assisted to recover the body, authorities are yet to ascertain a cause of death.
The Newsfirst reports Savaragamu Province Convention and Award Ceremony took place in Ratnapura today.
Newsfirst, which initiated citizens' journalism in Sri Lanka, felicitated U reporters from the Ratnapura and Kegalle districts today. A number of persons were present for the award ceremony, which took place at the Ratnapura district secretariat. The introduction of a View Reporter app was the highlight of the convention today. The app enables users easy access to join the Newsfirst U Report team. 6 U reporters from the Ratnapura and Kegalle districts shortlisted for the Best U Reporter award. However, it was Jayantha Dharmapriya who received the Eagle Award for the Best U Reporter from the Ratnapura district. Chamara Ilangaratna received the Eagle Award for the Best U Reporter from the Kegalle district.
I feel extremely happy to be named as the Best U Reporter from the Ratnapura district. I am very happy about the fact that my service to Citizens Media Network, or in other words, the Sirasa family, is being commended. I'm inviting all of you to join me in accepting this award I received today. We have earned a lot of experience. We thank the Sirasa Media Network for always doing the right thing. I cannot express how I feel entirely right now because I am filled with joy at this point of time. In fact, I cannot put into words the happiness I am feeling because I have so much on my mind.
The GoGreen Conference, organized by City Planning Division of the Colombo Municipal Council, was held in Colombo today.
70% of the world population is going to move into the urbanized cities. The construction industry is still a very viable industry in Sri Lanka. If you look at the policy of the government that is being envisaged to promote this, I am sure with the new budgetary provisions that has come in for the foreign investors to come to Sri Lanka, especially in respect of the land acquisition law, the services from the management of garbage is a serious headache, is a serious involvement. So we are taking meaningful steps to solve the garbage issues.
We set the Millennium Development Goals and we have failed ourselves. And now we have set the Sustainable Development Goals starting from next year for 2030, and we hope that we will achieve that. And this government has set a precedence of being the first government in the world to have a ministry for sustainable development. Everybody wanted to know where we are going, and we say white green buildings are important, and when we show that, people are frightened. because 47% of the carbon dioxide contribution to the increase has come from the building sector. So the builders are the culprits for the problem today. We are living in an artificial chemical world of more than 30,000 chemicals. We need sincere, real changes that can make a real difference. Instead of using nature as a mere tool for human purpose, we can strive to become tools of nature who serve its agenda too.
Let's take a look at more local stories in brief.
Eight Indian fishermen who violated the maritime boundary with Sri Lanka were arrested off the coast of Delft Island last night. The fishermen are from Rameshwaram in southern India. Sri Lankan Navy spokesperson Captain Akram Alavi said 2 boats have been handed over to the Jaffna District Fisheries Office. Thick mist was reported from several parts of the Hambantota district, including Siribopura and Gonnoruva this morning. According to our correspondent, transportation in the area was hampered due to this anomaly. This weather condition is very odd. There is no rain, but the sky is cloudy, just like on a rainy day. We experienced a similar weather condition after the tsunami. The Department of Meteorology says that such weather conditions can be brought on by high density of water vapor in the atmosphere. A group of police officers who were on patrol near the Gal Oya police station on the Trincomalee-Habarana road last night seized a van and arrested 3 people for illegally transporting a herd of goats. 45 goats were being transported from Kantale to Naramala. Meanwhile, police in Monaragala have seized a van which was transporting cattle without a license early this morning in Hambe Gamua. The police had fired warning shots at the van which did not stop when they flagged it down. 3 suspects had fled the scene. Police have recovered a locally manufactured shotgun and 2 shells from the van.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a pleasant week ahead of you. Good night.